Well, that's the last time I wear a nice shirt. First of all, welcome. Welcome to the first event. I really am honored to be here. 25 years ago, I was a software engineer fresh out of school, moved to Boise, Idaho from the middle of Montana. And if you'd have told me 25 years ago I was going to be standing here addressing this first conference of software professionals in the state of Idaho, I would have probably accused you of drinking and then asked, where's mine? And I've heard now that we got 2 tickets. Mine's after I'm done here. So there's a couple things I was thinking about when I was asked to present here. And it was really about the outlook of the state of Idaho when it comes to the software industry and the software professional. And what does that really look like? And so being kind of a tops-down thinker, I started by opening up the internet browser, and I kind of started looking around and seeing what was going on in the news and stuff like that. And I wrote myself a few notes here. Depending on who you are, there's somewhere between 2 and 6 wars going on right now. It's pretty gloomy. There's pretty much a worldwide recession, and a lot of unemployed people, and that wasn't really happy. There's the pigs in Europe, right? Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain, going bankrupt, and bailouts needed there. Another chunk of good news. So I said, well, maybe I'll go domestic again, and it turns out the U.S. is going broke. That's really good news. Glad to hear that. Trillion amongst friends is not that much, I guess. Then I'm going, well, we're in healthcare. Oh, wait, healthcare is completely out of control and pretty much bankrupting the country. That's probably not good. Well, at least our education system's in chaos. And then I got thinking about it. I go, you know what? The gloom and doom crowd, the naysayers of the world, those guys never built shit. We don't need to hear from those people. I think we all know we got our problems. So let me give you my perspective on where Idaho and software is. Never in history have we been at a point in time where we've had the potential that we have right now. And I say that for a very, very specific reason, and I'm going to make that case to you here in the next 20 minutes. But before I make that case, hold that thought, tell you a little bit about myself. There was a little bit of intro. I grew up in Montana, was in grad school up there about 25 years ago, and was hired by a little company that had just spun off of Hewlett-Packard in Boise, Idaho, a company called Extended Systems. Some of you in the crowd know it. It was a good company, ran by some good people. And it started off my career in this valley and in this state of having a track record of getting to work with exceptionally good people, which have tremendously enhanced my life and my career success over the years. I did a bunch of different things while I was at Extended Systems, including probably writing some of the worst firmware on the planet. I was really a software engineer at heart, so eventually I got to be noisy and grumbly enough that the CEO said, rather than you leaving, why don't you go build us a software company? And we'll own it, but you can build it. And then I know you're going to go build one eventually, so you can go build it, and you can test this one on your dime. And so we did that. He gave me a couple engineers. We went off to the corner of the building, and we built a little business called Advantage Database, which is still out, owned by SAP now, still out on the edge of town, still out there doing the great work. After that kind of was going for a while, we decided maybe we ought to try one for ourselves for real this time, and we started ProClarity with a handful of guys that I'd worked with at Extended Systems. I had a pretty good run of it. Won, quite a few awards. Had a reasonable string of success. Sold that to Microsoft in '86, where I was then got a 2-year crash course in why it is I like small companies. Not to say anything against Microsoft, because Microsoft's a fabulous company and I learned an incredible amount, but I grew up in a town of about 6 people, and when you put me in a room of 40,000, I get a little nervous after a while and I want to move on. So I moved on and kind of retired, but I'm not very good at that either. So a couple months, it's been 24 months ago, I decided to start a company called White Cloud Analytics, recruited some great talent, and we're focused on an interesting little niche problem we've called the U.S. healthcare system. It's a big problem, actually, which is what our interest was. We're trying to actually figure out how to provide the tools that help the U.S. provide better health care to more people at lower cost. It's something, strangely enough, they've never worried about. Its cost has never really been part of their equation. We think analytics can help a lot because you can't fix what you can't see. And so we're out trying to figure out how to get that up and going, and we've got a pretty good run of it so far, growing significantly faster than ProClarity, which actually had a pretty reasonable track record. But Tim, Ramey, Tim would stand up. This is my shameless plug time. We are hiring some software engineers. Tim would be the guy, you know, don't give him to me. I can't judge talent. That's why I got Tim. Go ahead, you can sit down now, Tim. No, seriously, during the mixer, we are looking for some software talent, and you know, I think Tim would be happy to have a discussion. I would too, but I'll probably have a couple drinks with me, and that wouldn't be fun. So, let's talk a little bit about this. Why would you say, make the case that never in history has there been a better time to be in software in the state of Idaho? You know, some people, if I said that too, they'd go, you know, we're in the middle of a recession. You know, that's a little crazy. And to hear that feedback in the state of Idaho is kind of an interesting, if you really think about it, because, you know, there was a guy named Jack Simplot who in 1923 left home at the age of 14 to go get a job and then eventually create his own business. And when he was 19, we had that little stock market crash that caused the Great Recession. And when he was building his first business between 1929 and 1939, the unemployment rate in this country was between 15 up to sustained periods of time at 25% unemployment rate. And he built a business and started that business then. So it'd be kind of weird for somebody to go, yeah, it's a recession, it's not a good time. If you said, well, okay, so maybe the recession's not that big a deal, maybe it's the state of Idaho, maybe it's our geography that's all screwed up. I mean, why would you think you could build a leading software company in the state of Idaho? And you'd have to look around and go, you know, we are in Boise. And shortly after J.R. Simplot started out, another guy from Boise decided he'd build a national grocery chain out of Boise, Idaho, before there was an interstate highway system. And Albertsons was born. So I don't think we have a whole lot of excuses, but that doesn't really explain why, specifically, Idaho and software, and why now. So let me make that case to you. There's an opportunity right now in the software industry that sometimes if your head's down day in and day out debugging or coding, you may not recognize. So let me come at this from a CEO perspective. We have the intersection of some incredible industry events going on right now. Number one, we have a move towards cloud computing. Now, some people go, cloud's just a software, just an internet application. We've been building internet applications. When I say cloud computing, I mean moving processing into the cloud. I mean SaaS business models. That is a platform shift for software companies. And you know, us in the software business, about every 5 to 8 years, we have a platform shift. And if you pay attention, which you should, every time we have a platform shift, there's an entirely new set of market leaders that emerge. From mainframe to mini computers to PCs to networks. Every time we shift platform, the legacy goes away, new companies emerge. That's a big platform shift. It's a huge economic shift. The question is, what do we do about that as an opportunity? Second of all, we have devices exploding right now, whether it be iPhones, Androids, iPads, GPS devices. We have devices rolling out of our ears. And in fact, most projections are that wireless internet access is going to exceed wired internet access within the next year or two. What's that mean to software? What's an explosion of devices for a software engineer? It's an explosion of platforms. Again, opportunity. If one of those things happened, it would be an incredible opportunity for the software industry. Those two things are happening simultaneously. We have another thing going on as well. We have an explosion of data. I don't know if you've seen the data curve, but this is my favorite because I'm in the analytics business. I love this. We have data running out of our ears. In the last 2 years, we generate more data than there is disk drive storage capacity on the planet. In one 12-month period, we generate more data than there is all storage capacity combined. We've been doing it for the last 2 years, and it's getting worse. All of that massive data, big data is big opportunity if you're in the software field. So, there's 3 things, but I'm not done. We're right on the front edge of the next wave of data, because the last wave of data was the social media data. It was the YouTubes of the world. But it is projected that in the coming years, that data is actually going to get dwarfed in size by sensor data. And there's a couple startups here in town that are working on what do we do with intelligent sensors? And how do we do something more efficient, more effective, more intelligent than could ever be done before because of new sensors? So when you look at across that, and I'm leaving out some major industry phenomena, but I look at just those 4 and go, what other industry would I want to be in right now? I mean, what possible more opportunity? I mean, we have 4 intersecting events. Each one could create a knee curve in a growth curve for a company, could create whole new companies, whole new industries. It is a great time to be in software. But having opportunity and seizing opportunity are 2 different things. So let me talk a little bit about what it means to do that. Because once you see the opportunity, the natural entrepreneur in me says, okay, if that's the opportunity, how do I seize that opportunity? Well, from my experience, there's kind of 4 phases that a company goes through. Most software people like to focus on the first one, which is to build the product. We love that because that's what us software people love to do. We build it. That requires software talent. And we're here today to talk about that software talent and continue to grow and build that software talent in the state. But there's a little bit more to building a software business than collecting some software talent and writing some code. I tend to think of it as just 3 more phases. And a good software company is going to have a strategy for each one of these. You don't have to just build it, but if you like to get paid, you actually have to sell it. And then there's go-to-market models, and there's sales and marketing mix, and there's a different stream of professionals now that I need to tap into. Sales and marketing professionals, and people can understand go-to-market partnerships and how that's going to work. But when I'm done selling it, now I can pay the bills. But while you were here, why stop there? Let's scale it. Scaling it is whole yet a different set of skills. It's about understanding economics of the business and understanding where are the critical centers of gravity in your market. Where are the bottlenecks? How do I flank the enemy? And how do I break through those bottlenecks and get to a scalable business model that I can build a company out of it? And then any good strategy that doesn't know how to finish with finesse probably needs to be rethought, because every industry comes and every industry goes, and every product line comes and every product line goes. And the key to being a long-term sustainable organization is to understand when product life cycles come to a close, finish with finesse, grab the next wave of growth, and keep on moving. So we have to have strategies that understand all those phases. We have to have solid strategies in each one of those phases. We have to have solid execution in each one of those phases. That's fairly obvious. Here's the challenge. We need talent. We need talent in the business executives and the sales and marketing executives and in the software executives if we're going to traverse and execute across all of that. So as we think through that challenges, think through how important they are. Let me point out two companies that are materially software companies. You probably recognize them. Second largest company in the world, market cap-wise, is Apple. Pretty much made their money writing software. Got some nice devices too. But software is what their secret sauce is. What's the third largest market cap company in the world? Microsoft. You know, when I moved here 25 years ago, most people couldn't even spell software. Now, 2 of the top 3 largest companies in the world are software companies who employ software engineers. It's a good time to be in software. But think about those 2 companies for a second. When you think about Apple, is innovation play any part in their success? You think? And you think through that, is it software engineering innovation? Yeah, it is. But there's more to it than that. Think about the iPad, but think before that the iPhone, the iPod, iTunes, not just selling devices, but a renewable revenue stream, building a store, tying the 2 together. That's called business model creativity. Now let's look at probably the most successful software company in the world, Microsoft. How many people here think Microsoft has innovative products? That's open to debate. I love Microsoft products. I use them all the time, but that's open to debate. Does anybody think there's any innovation at Microsoft? They have some of the most innovative licensing, go-to-market, packaging strategies on the planet. You don't get to have more bottom line revenue as the largest software company in the world, pure software company in the world. They've got more revenue than the second largest software company has total revenue. More bottom line profit. Nobody has figured out the economics of software the way that Microsoft has. That took a lot of creativity, took a lot of talent. And they have exploited it. People say, well, they got that because they got a monopoly. Well, exactly how many man-made monopolies does one company get? They're on their fifth. No one handed it to them. That's innovation at work. That's talent at work. What does that have to do with Idaho software? Well, let's talk about our challenges. Number one, talent. We have talent in the state. We have software talent in the state, and we've done some great things. We need to grow our talent. Can't grow an industry without a healthy pipeline of talent. We need software engineers. We need marketing and sales professionals. We need innovative people. We need software executives and business people who understand not just how to build it, but how to commercialize it and how to scale it. Does anybody think Groupon software is overly innovative from a software engineering standpoint? It's about $8 billion worth of innovation right now, last I checked. A lot of software success has to do with innovative business models. And a lot of it has to do with innovative software. If we're going to grow this industry, we need to innovate on all vectors. We need talent, but talent's not enough. We need experience. It helps to understand, to watch, to learn, to have screwed it up a half a dozen times. I know I reached my quote on that years ago. The faster I can screw things up, hopefully the faster I can stumble into doing it right. And so we need experienced people who can help shape that talent to drive that next wave of growth. And then we need resources. But, you know, I put that up there because a lot of people in this state have told me that we have shortage of resources, whether it be, you know, VC resources or outsourcing resources or whatever, human resources. I kind of think of it this way, is if you solve the first two, the third one will take care of itself. If you don't solve the first two, then the third one might be a struggle. But we need all of these. All of these need to come together. That's the challenge we have. We've done great stuff. We've got great people. But we need to grow. We need to grow all of this in order to see some of the opportunity. How are we going to grow that? How do we meet that challenge? It starts here today, from my perspective. It starts with collaboration. We have talent who maybe doesn't have expertise in a certain area, but we have that expertise in the state. We have companies who maybe have an expertise in a certain area but are missing talent in a different area. We can all do what we did at ProClarity as we grew, which is just start recruiting and trying to move people in as fast as possible into this state. But importing talent is one vector. We need to collaborate on importing talent. We need to collaborate on developing talent. We need to work all of these together to help meet the challenges we have and take advantage of the opportunity. So let me close with saying I firmly believe that never in history have we had the potential that we have right now to be in software, to be in the state of Idaho, and to tap into that incredible potential. And it starts here, and it starts with the people in this room. Because potential never actually paid anybody's paycheck. Action pays people's paycheck. Taking risks, moving. Finding the talent, developing the talent, finding the experience, developing the experience, building the resources, building the community. That's what we hope to start here today. And it's the people in this room who are responsible for that next wave of growth. So, thank you.